So some of the events and meetings that have taken place since our last update. On May 11th, I had a meeting with Dr. Leo Voss from the Kiwanis Club. They oversee the Children's Safety Village in Brantford, and they're going to have to change location, and they're also looking for annualized funding. On May 11th, we had visitors here at Six Nations from Dufferin County Museum. And from May 10th to 13th, there were community members that hosted a Nations Cup lacrosse tournament for kids under 16. On May 14th, it was the start of our Community Awareness Week, which I think was very exciting and very successful this year. On the 15th of May, I was in Toronto for Hydro One's annual General Assembly. They asked me to provide some words on the work that we have been doing with Hydro One. And part of our Community Awareness Week, of course, was Bread and Cheese, which was a big event where we were able to recognize Brandon Montour from the Anaheim Ducks. And we also recognized Dave Levac, who has been an MPP for this area for many years and is now retiring. We also attended the Group of Six annual Showcase of Art that was held in the Plaza, and they do their artwork under the tutelage of Betts Dogstater, who runs the Cornhusk doll store there. And congrats to all those who took part in the big bike ride on May 22nd and to fundraise for Heart and Stroke. And on May 23rd and 24th, myself and Councillors Audrey Paulus-Bomberry, Ray Miracle, and Mark Hill attended a conference in Toronto that was sponsored by Anishinaabe Nation in Osgoode Hall, and it was called Determination, What is After the Indian Act. And this was part of our continuing work to achieve as much information and research as we can on the federal rights recognition framework. At that time, Councillor Ray Miracle and I also had a meeting with the Federal Minister of Sport, Kirsty Duncan. We recently received notification from Canada Summer Games that they have agreed to have lacrosse as one of the sports to be played in the 2021 Games, which are going to be held in the Niagara region. So we were advocating with the federal government to provide funding to ensure that the lacrosse teams from across the country can get to those games. I also met with Ken Burns, who was the Green Party candidate for the provincial election. And on May 25th, we had the grand opening of our Victim Services office here at Six Nations. So if anyone needs any support, please drop into that office. It's located in the Plaza. On May 26th, Paul General and I attended in Hamilton the commissioning or decommissioning of the HMCS Haida. It's now located in the Hamilton port on a permanent basis, so if anyone wants to see that, you can go down and visit it. It was a fine event, and we were happy to be there along with two traditional chiefs from the Haida Nation. That evening, the Woodland Cultural Centre had the opening for their 43rd Indigenous Art Show, so it's a fantastic show. I encourage everybody to go up and see that. On May 30th, I helped to facilitate a trauma-informed workshop that was put on by the Toronto Council Fire and the Restoration of Identity. And on the 31st, I traveled to Paris to speak along with a number of other people to about 2,000 students to help promote peace on something that was billed as International Peace Day. On June 3rd and 4th, we were lucky to have several people in our community for a First Nations Water Security and Climate Change Symposium. This was co-hosted by Six Nations and McMaster University, and I want to acknowledge Dr. Don Martin Hill, who was instrumental in bringing about 400 researchers, academics, and scientists into our community and to give them the opportunity to learn from our traditional knowledge keepers about the protection of water and of Mother Earth. We also had the Tom Longboat Run on June 4th. That was well attended again. And on June 5th, I and some councillors attended a breakfast at O.M. Smith School with the We Stand Club. This is a club of about 13 kids who are part of the overall We Day activities, and they've done a lot of good work in the community. They raise funds and they help and they've donate to different things. So kudos to all those kids and who are doing so much and are continuing to do so much. On June 5th as well, we had a lot of staff who are holding an event in our community. It was actually at Woodland Cultural Centre, who all worked with the Ministry of the Attorney General. They were spent 2 days in our community, and I just went up and talked to them a bit about our community and to welcome them. And on June 6th, I was in Thunder Bay. I was asked to take part in a retirement gala as one of the speakers for the retirement of the Grand Council Chief Patrick Madabi, who did not seek re-election as the Grand Council Chief of the Anishinaabe Nation. And on June 6th, although I wasn't here for it, I understand they had a good Tim Hortons Day here in Ohsweken with pie throwing contest and prizes and raising funds for the kids to go to camp.